Well. We've not done this in a little while. Good morning, good day, good afternoon, wherever it may be, wherever you are. I am, of course, Invertebrarian. Thank you so much for joining us here today on the channel, although it's been an absolute power load of ages and ages and ages away. Look at the absolute state of me. Woo! Anyway, you may remember me for such things as Tea-Master, or the Rumble Bums. But today's video, we're going to go right back because I realise I haven't done a video in a wee while, and I kind of wanted to go back and readdress something. And it's the purpose of this video. It's know your hobby. As we get older, we all get very interested in various different things. And obviously, I am no different. I have numerous different hobbies. But I think sometimes the lines between the two hobbies, although it's fine to blur on certain occasions, which I will explain as this video goes on other times people kind of forget, especially when it comes to live animals, that they are indeed live animals. And that's kind of the purpose of today's video, is to address a few things around the keeping of animals. Obviously, this is not aimed at any one person in particularly. There will be topics covered in this, such as handling. I used to handle, do occasionally if need be, more for necessity due to the reason I used to do it was for education purposes, such as YouTube. I used to run my own business, teaching adults and kids about all different types of animals, including spiders, scorpions, all different arachnids and inverts. And we used ferrets, rabbits, rats, everything. We skunk, Quatamundi, we had all kinds of different things. But to digress and get back to the point I was trying to make, sometimes we forget that these are living animals and they require a level of respect, care, and I just wanted to kind of go over some fundamentals, some basics, and just a few reminders. Should keeping spiders and tarantulas be something that you are possibly thinking about getting into? So now that we've got that rather long introduction out of the way, let's just kind of dive into what I'm talking about. So displays. As you can see behind me, I have quite a display of mostly Exo Terra tanks, with a few exceptions. Now, obviously you want your spiders to be on display, as you do with any other hobbies you may have. Musical instruments. On my latest thing is collectible figures. So when it comes to displaying your animals, obviously when they're small, such as this, something like this, or this, is absolutely fine. The thing is, something like this will not always stay this size, because eventually that will become something like this. Lacidora parbayam, in case you're wondering. So, whereas this needs space to grow, this doesn't. So if you're thinking about getting into pet keeping, tarantulas, whatever it may be, fish, aquatics, things grow. Things need to be able to be moved up into larger enclosures, tanks, tubs, whatever you happen to choose to use, as long as it meets the suitability for the animal it is housing. Now, the problem is, quite often, you will see people keeping largish tarantulas, or even smallish tarantulas, in inappropriate tubs. Things like takeaway containers, they're fine up until a point, but when that tarantula or spider or scorpion or centipede or whatever it happens to be, once it starts to exceed the size of that tub, you need to make sure you have the space and the environment to allow that animal to have a bigger, more comfortable and more suitable environment. These guys need feeding. Yeah, these guys don't. Nummy num nums. So these guys, they need watering. Guys don't. Drink, dick, drink! So these guys, they need food, they need water, they need space to be able to grow as they get bigger. These guys will only get bigger when you buy more of them, which means The only time you're going to need to increase your case or your display or your unit is once you start getting more figures. But should you remain at that, that is all you'll ever need. That is it. They will stay exactly as they are. These guys, smaller ones, they need to be able to grow into something more suitable. Which kind of ties into my next point. It's about space. How much space do you have for your hobby? Can you hang them on the wall and just keep them out of the way? Do you have a designated area where you can put things to grow and flourish and blah-de-blah? As mentioned with the figures, unless I buy more figures, they will never need an increase in space. Whereas with spiders, if you buy juveniles or slings, then as they grow, they are going to need bigger space. So take into account the space you have, because another thing I see a lot of people have done or do is they will minimise the size of the environment that they're keeping the animals in to maximise the amount they can therefore keep, which to me is a little bit unfair on the animal. I would rather have suitable enclosures and have fewer pets than loads and loads of animals all kept incorrectly. Handling, the good old topic of handling. Now obviously there are certain spider species you are not going to want to handle and they are not going to want you to handle them. Some other species, some of the more slower docile species like the Tolutecatl here, we'll just give it a wee... Obviously, as I said earlier in this video, I have worked with a lot of animals over the years. One thing I like to do is just see how they are. See that flick there is a slight defensive flick. It's not like a rear up or a threat pose, but it's her way of saying, not really in the mood. This is my natural way of telling you no. She probably will be handleable. There are a number of ways you can do it. People use the pinch technique. Absolutely hate it. I prefer to either like scoop them up from behind, get them on a piece of wood or something, allow them to walk onto your hands, or put your hand down and let them walk onto it. So here we go. Now please note, I am on the floor. Her tank is right here. I am sitting on the floor. The spider is low down. There is about that much of a gap, about an inch between my hand and this floor. This is very important. I see far too often people inappropriately doing this. Don't get me wrong, a little bit off the ground's not bad. 2 hands offers a little bit of support. Above a table, on a work surface, that's fine. But when people start balancing them on their heads or on the side of their face and they're standing up, that's massively inappropriate and also a huge risk to your animal. So I want to go home now, she? Yeah, girl, off you go. Big booty. The likes of this here, there's not a chance in hell I'm going to try and handle. Nope, nope, nope. This guy, he doesn't care how high I up him off the ground. He doesn't care if I drop him. I'm not going to because it's expensive and I might break it. But the point is, it's not going to die if I drop it. Whereas the spider, I could kill it. My ukulele doesn't care if I spin round in a circle with it. Woo! It doesn't care if I throw it up and down. Obviously, again, if I drop it, I could damage it, but it's not going to die. Well, it could die, but you get the point. So like I was saying, yes, you can handle tarantulas. It's not like a don't do it. But is there a reason to? Is there a reason why you're going to do it? Is the animal you're handling suitable to handle, or are you going to end up in a lot of pain and really fecked up? I see a lot of people handling species that aren't really suitable for handling, as in they will cause you severe pain and distress. Yes, people have handled them successfully many times over, but is it worth the risk to you and to your animal? Because let's face it, human instinct, if you're sitting and you've got a OBT on you and it bites you, you're instinctively going to flick it or jump, or potentially you're causing yourself and your pet harm for the sake of handling something that really didn't need to be handled in the first place. Again, handling is absolutely fine in my opinion. I'm not going to have a go at anybody for wanting to handle the spiders. Just know what it is you're handling and what risk you're putting both yourself and your pets at. Some are far more suitable, docile and easy to maneuver than others. inanimate objects don't care. They don't care. So think carefully about your pet's welfare over an Instagram photo or a video for likes and shares and all that nonsense. But you get my point. Playfulness. Bruce Lee here. I could do pretty much whatever I want. I can play with him. I can manipulate him. I could do whatever I want. I can pose him. I can stance him. Bruce doesn't care. He's a bit of plastic. It's just a doll, Ripley. So yeah. Stop making your spiders throw threat poses and such like just for a video. There's no need. I think it's pretty well established within the hobby that he's going to fall over. No, he's not. There are rumoured to be certain keepers that will aggravate their spider before doing a feeding or a watering or a care video or a rehousing video or whatever. There's just no need. There's absolutely no need. What's the point? Oh, let's make it look big and scary and ooh, threat. Because what you're doing is you're actually portraying them in a false and negative way, which is only feeding into the whole fear spiders thing, blah, 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 blah. But if it gets you views, whatever, man. But the point I'm trying to make is these things are living animals, are living beings. They're not toys. They're not something you can just manipulate and play around with. They're not going to do necessarily what you want them to do every time you want them to do it. I could put him into a pose and he'll stand there and he'll stay there forever and a day. I'm not always going to get a feeding video or you know, it's all very hit and miss sometimes when it comes to pet keeping, but that's also part of the joy, is that these are living animals and you, as a keeper, are responsible for making sure you tick all the boxes in keeping. So as I think I briefly touched upon earlier, with any hobby, as you get into a hobby and the more you explore it, the more you want to have different versions. My wife loves plants. We have lots and lots of different plants. Instruments. I have a few different ukuleles and a few different guitars. Figures. I have loads and I want so many more. He's the best. Yeah, man. And pet keeping can be the same, be it fish, spiders, scorpions. Once you start keeping them and you realise how amazing it can be, you will want to try different things. You've got your webbers, you've got your burrowers, you've got your climbers. There's so many different amazing types of spiders you can keep. You may want to keep all of the same genus and different species within that. It's different for everybody, but the point I'm trying to make, while it's easy to over-encumbersome yourself with too much and too many, and then the welfare of the animal is brought into question. Whereas these guys, it doesn't matter how, I can put them back in a box and put them on a shelf out of the way. You know, I can put them away and it doesn't matter. These guys you have to keep alive. You have to care for. One thing I'd really like to address is, look, we all make mistakes. We all cut from time to time. We will get things wrong. Ideally, with pet keeping, that's where you need to be kind of on your game, paying attention. But you will make mistakes. You'll have escapees. There will be days you'll forget to feed them or water them. But it's not like breaking a string or knocking a figure over, you know. It can be a lot more serious in terms of the welfare of the animal. But unfortunately, things will happen. You'll have mysterious deaths. And you'll have followed the book and all the advice and everything, but it can still happen. So don't beat yourself up about it, but take responsibility for your animals. I think I have covered most of the points I wanted to make. Hobbies are amazing. Having a hobby, having something you're interested in outside of the normal mundane of work and family and stuff, you know, the kind of necessities of life, if you will. Hobbies are a great way to allow you to express yourself and to find a sense of enjoyment or relaxation. It doesn't matter what it is, whatever interests you. Meditation, music, gardening, rock climbing. It's wonderful for the mind to have a hobby or hobbies. The point is not to push the boundaries or over push yourself with the hobby or hobbies, if that makes sense. Especially when it comes to pet keeping, you're very much restricted by, or a lot of people are restricted by space, time, environmental factors. So these are all things you need to take into account if you're contemplating getting into pet keeping, or if you are even a pet keeper. Just a little reminder to yourself, like, have I got space for these? Can I adequately care for all these different animals that I am now responsible for? Because that is a big part of it. I've done it myself many, many years ago. When I first got into the hobby, I was like, I want that one, I want that one, I want that one, I want that one. And before I knew it, I had all these spiders. And it was taking me all my time to feed, to water, to upgrade, to rehouse, upgrade, all these different things, and learn about the different needs and necessities, which is brilliant. It's fun, it's fascinating. But it got to a point where it became a chore. And when it became a chore, I lost the enjoyment of what I was doing. So I think that's something that needs to be taken into account whenever you're getting into any kind of hobby, especially more so one involving a life form, is, am I going to get bored with it? Am I going to do the research that's needed to care for this thing, this crab? I've got a crab enclosure over there. I've got a pet leech. I feed my pet leech off of me because that is my responsibility. My pet leech is my responsibility, therefore I am responsible for feeding it, for making sure it's got an environment that's suitable for it to swim about in and all that bajazz. But anyway, it does. I digress. Think about your hobby, think about your interests. What do you like? What do you do? What's going to bring you a sense of satisfaction and enjoyment? Most importantly is make sure it is manageable. It can almost cross onto an addiction, which is what I was meaning earlier, because you want it, you want it, you want it, you want it. I've got that species, now I want that species, I want that one, that one's a really good web, or that one's gonna, you know, you've really got to slow down sometimes and remind yourself, these are living things. Their need needs to be put above my own endorphin rush of like, oh, I've got another one, I've got another one, I've got another one. It's fine with figures, get another figure. If you can bloody afford it, get another figure. It's fine. You can find space for them. You can squeeze them in. It may not look aesthetically pleasing, depending on what you're wanting to go for, but you can squeeze them in without having to worry about the welfare of a life. Time is another thing to take into consideration. Obviously, these take time. You've got the setups, the care, the upkeep. Watering and feeding can take a surprisingly long amount of time. You think it's going to be a quick, easy job, but it turns out to be an absolute pain in the hoop. Obviously, learning an instrument takes time, but it's not as... It is important, but it's not relying on you to stay alive. So they're hobbies you can kind of pick up when you have the time. These you have to have the time. That's kind of the difference. They're like, I've got 5-10 minutes. I'm gonna play an instrument, or I'm gonna repose a figure, or I'm gonna go and climb a mountain or something. But these guys, you have to have time to climb a mountain. But anyway, you know what I mean. These guys, you have to have the time for them. You have to be able to make time to make sure you're looking after. All of this makes sense, because I'm probably just prattling on. So if I haven't already, let's just summarise. Let's just finish this thing off. Finish him. Pets are amazing. Pets bring a sense of joy and pleasure. Be it a cat or a dog, a spider. Obviously, some pets can reciprocate love better than others. But it doesn't matter. Any pet keeper will tell you how wonderful it is to have a pet. Unfortunately, there are a lot of people that don't appreciate that animal, and it's neglected or mistreated or forgotten about or abandoned. But any real person with a good heart and a good soul wouldn't do that. But yeah, pet keeping isn't for everybody. It's not. Not all people like animals, which is fine. It's fine. Don't. But right. As a pet keeper, they are the priority above myself. I might not always be in the mood to check they've all got water, to make sure they've all got food, to make sure they're all in big enough tanks and stuff. And we'll all have the odd time where we'll kind of go like, oh, I'll do it tomorrow, I'll do it tomorrow. That's fine. And, you know, as the odd ones here or there. But in general, you are the keeper, the carer, the responsibility of your pets. And don't get me wrong, you can even, like this one, we've got Batman up here, we kind of blurred the two together. We've got a crossover between pet keeping and figure keeping, and I can't get into the enclosure. We've got a crossover between pet keeping and figure keeping. We've got Batman, we've got Lego in there. It's fine. As long as the animal is fine and healthy and well cared for and looked after, because at the end of the day, everything else you can put away. You can put it into a box. You can forget about it. These guys are living life, and they're just so wonderful and they're amazing. And hopefully this video will give you something to take out of it. I look forward to all your comments down below, I hope. In the meantime, obviously, be good, be kind, take care of yourselves, enjoy your hobbies, and don't let it become a chore. I think that's kind of the brief to summarise is if you're enjoying it, it's good. If you're looking at it and you're like, oh, that's not good, you don't want it to become something you hate and regret, and it's tedious and boring. It's about, you know, I love reposing my figures and putting them into new stances and filming little videos for my TikTok and stuff. But I love feeding my spiders. I love watering my spiders. I love watching them web up their enclosures. I love recreating new enclosures for them to suit their needs, with decorations, and be it natural or be it, you know, kind of over the top like medieval Spawn with chains and stuff. The point is there's loads of fun to be had. But anyway, that is it for me to you guys. Really hope you've enjoyed this video. I'm stinking at doing this recently. But yeah, obviously, go and check out Tarantulas Enclosures. He gives you a wonderful kind of idea of just how elaborate and wacky and amazing you can go with keeping your pets, but also whilst maintaining suitability for them. So yeah, that is it for me to you guys. Please pop your comments down below. Give us a like, share, subscribe, all that jazz. If there's anything I've forgotten, I'll cover it in another video. In the meantime, bye. Bye-bye. Bye. This has probably gone on for ages. Well, it is what it is. Probably not see me for ages, so just enjoy this one. Bye.